Show.
Hello and welcome to The Dreaming Show. I'm Gabby Company in Melbourne, Australia. My guest today is the extraordinary Anita Ventata. Hello, Anita.
Hi, Gabby.
Nice to see you again in The Dreaming Show.
Great to be back here with you.
Thank you, thank you. Anita is a psychotherapist, a speaker, author, workshop and retreat facilitator, and her business is Activating Artemis. Could you tell me about your business, please? What does it mean, Activating Artemis?
Yes, activating is because I think we talk so much nowadays about things, we get awareness and education, but we're not activated in our lives on what to say and what to do. So I'm all about, with stress and trauma, our brain disconnects, so we need to connect to get activated again, or we can't. And so I'm all about activating within our mind-body system and activating the connection to our body and our unconscious. But I'm also about activating in families and friends and workplaces and, every possible connection. And the Artemis she's a Greek goddess, and she's the one that's unto herself. She's the one that has the power and the capability to take care of herself, and she's there to protect women and children, particularly those who are vulnerable. So I felt very aligned with Artemis because she's a free spirit and she knows how to take action to protect. She lives with nature and the animals, so she's connected to her instincts. And this is what I think all women need more encouragement to connect to their body, their instinct.
Sounds very powerful.
Yes, yes.
And the topic today is how to overcome a toxic relationship. Is it possible to avoid that?
Absolutely, it's possible, and I'm living proof of it, as you know, from my own lived experience. And I know a lot of people say you can never recover from PTSD, that it will always be there, and I totally disagree. There's so many tools and resources that understand the brain and the body nowadays that can make a significant difference. From what I grew up with and what I lived with through domestic violence, I would not be functional today if I hadn't had the appropriate therapy. It did take me a while to find therapy that really does change the brain and the body, but you can fully recover, absolutely, you can overcome. But again, like I've spoken to you about, we also aren't skilled at how to help someone overcome it in the family or the workplace. And we know from statistics that women will 16% go to domestic violence organisation, 75% will talk to their friends, family, neighbours, hairdresser, but people don't know what to say or do, and they're still confused and still caught in myths and misconceptions, and so don't know how to help the person. But you can overcome toxic, abusive relationships, and I'm living proof of it. If you'd seen me as a child, you wouldn't believe what I was.
You mentioned before PTSD. For people that they don't know, could you explain what does it mean?
Post-traumatic stress disorder. So that's when our system disconnects and we don't get help to process what our system was exposed to, then we can either have like a lot of anxiety, flashbacks, a lot of triggers. We'll have to avoid certain, even foods, and even going to the supermarket, fearful in so many different ways. It can shape and interrupt everything internally, so that even though you might no longer be living in it, it becomes autonomous and you're living within it in yourself, but you can't get away from it. But there are many skilled ways that you can be taught that can make a significant change.
Could you tell us at least one, please?
Yes. Well, there is a tool that I teach everybody that comes to work with me that only takes a few minutes, but it helps get the brain back connected, because as I said before, when we disconnect, we can't process when our system is in disconnect. And when we're in overwhelm, it means our system has disconnected. And so we often minimize, we think it's got to happen for something huge or only physical violence, say, but the disconnect can happen for lots of reasons. So that one thing, to be able to learn and to be able to do it for yourself, and for it to be an easy thing via the body, of how to get the body back connected again, and then you're in the best place to be able to process.
You mentioned before, when we've been behind the scenes, you talk about an exercise with a hand. Could you
Yeah.
tell us, please, about that?
Sure. Because when we're overwhelmed and we disconnect and our frontal cortex shuts down, but our body still carries all of the information, and our body carries what our brain can't be with or doesn't want to be with or has conflict about or is just too overwhelmed or in shock to be with. And so the body remembers. We know from science that cells carry memory. So the body stores everything. So when I work with someone, I do use, when someone's comfortable with it, and I don't think I've ever had anyone not be comfortable with it, because I do it in a playful way to have the experience of it, is I use muscle testing. And so muscle testing works with using a non-intrusive muscle like the deltoid muscle, which does this motion here. And so if I asked someone to put their arm out straight and I only use 2 fingers, and I asked them to hold their arm out straight while they say a statement to do with something or
we
think
do
of,
it?
yeah, for sure, in a moment. I'll just explain this bit. So if the person thinks or says a statement, when you think or say it, there'll be electrical impulses that light up in your brain. Whether there's a connection, it will light up. If there isn't a connection, if, like I said, for you to say, I'm a pink elephant, and clearly your system knows you're not, so the system's not going to light up electrical impulses, the muscles aren't going to get involved, I would expect your arm to go down. But if you said, my name is, and you said your true name, I would expect your system to get all involved and it would go solid. So there's an indication of your body knowing the truth. Or you can even think about something and not say it aloud, something that gives you a pleasing experience, and your system will light up and be strong, the energy will be involved and connected. Think about something that you're overwhelmed about or of a concern, the system will drop out, it will go weak, it will go into that disconnect. So it's a really visible way of showing people we are more than our conscious brain, we're more than a lot of Western society says the brain can control everything and the body is just a vehicle for the brain. But we need to understand that our body has an incredible intelligence, and we work more powerfully when they work together, and we can listen to what each other has to say. We're just getting one-sided perceptions if we just listen to our head, if we can listen to our body as well. So do you want to have a go?
Yes. So the audience can see what you're talking about.
Okay, sorry if my hand's a bit cool. So I'm just going to show you, I'm just going to press so you know, and you just use enough energy just to do that, but with a little bit more, and just hold. So just like that, okay?
Yeah.
So now, do you want to not tell me so I don't know, so people can't think I'm influencing? You think about either a positive experience or a negative one.
Okay, let me think. I need to think about that situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or a situation or a person.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So you just let me know when you've got one, and then we'll do one.
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay, so don't tell me if it's the positive or negative.
Okay.
And just hold. Okay? And so don't tell me yet. And now think of the other one.
Positive or negative? Okay.
And just let me know when you're ready.
Yep.
And hold. Okay, you can see my arms quivering because I can't get your arm down.
Oh my God. This is true. This is magic.
Yeah, and we've got the magic of the body is amazing.
Wow. Amazing, Anita.
Untapped
Amazing.
intelligence. And this is what I teach people, to be able to tap into that deep intelligence that knows.
For people that they don't know, the first one was negative thought. and the second one was 100% positive.
Yeah.
Do you know people can use this strategy at home?
For people to use this at home? Yes.
In some way.
Yeah. There's a variety of different ways. I really recommend you have an experience with someone first, because if you feel confused about it, your system picks up the confusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can get unpredictable or unreliable results when you do it for yourself. But there is, some people say those two fingers together, and some people say those two fingers together. And if you go like that, and I can't do this version, I do a different version for myself. But if you hold those fingers together as tight as you can, and then you say, today is, and name what day it is, it should hold solid, because your system will feel the electrical impulses and connect to it, and it will go solid. And if you say today is, and you make up another day of the week that's not true, your system won't get involved because it's not true. It will drop out, and it should be able to, you still hold as tight as you can, and it should just drop through. But I really encourage, there's an incredible amount that we can do with muscle testing that helps find exactly where your system's blocked and exactly where and how to unblock it. So it's really powerful to speed therapy up. And to speed what's going on. But I'm trained specifically to use it in a way where it's not being done to you, because often with trauma, it's been without our permission. And so for me, I'd be very uncomfortable. I know kinesiologists use it where they do it to you and you don't know, you're not involved with it. For me, that's not as helpful as when you're involved with what's actually going on, the meanings and the choosing of what and why you're doing what you're doing, because then you've got more connections going on that light up and create deep brain-body changes for yourself. So it's far more powerful when you get the feelings and the light up, the connections, than someone just doing it to you and working it all out. Yeah. So
Powerful.
it is very powerful, and I think it's far more powerful when you're involved with it rather than just a body having something done. But it's good to give a little bit of a demonstration. But yes, it's a very valuable tool, and I use it all the time for myself and with my clients.
Thank you very much, Anita. So you share a lot of strategies, powerful strategies with the audience. Could you, before we finish, could you give a message to the audience how to overcome those toxic relationships and live a better life?
Sure. I want to say one thing for a person living in a toxic relationship, but one thing for a person that knows someone that you feel or sense something's not quite right, and you care for them and you want them to be happy, because so many people see things that when you're in it and you're shut down, you can't see it, or you know it but you can't act on it because there's too much overwhelm or fear in your system. So for the person that's not in it, I encourage you to get support for you to know more about it, so you don't get caught in the confusion that's coming at you with the denial or whatever's going on. So I also work I have a group specifically for people that aren't in abusive relationships but want prevention for themselves or want to know how to help someone that's trapped. So I can teach you to understand more, and these are all skills that are helpful for any uncomfortable conversations and listening to yourself and navigating conflict. So that's what I recommend for someone that's outside of it. When you're living in it, it's very hard to make a change because you've got a lot of involuntary stress responses that take over. But at any point of what you can, who can you speak to? Speak to someone. And what I teach children or parents with children, I say the same thing for adults. Get a piece of paper and write and trace around your whole hand, and for every finger, name someone that you trust. And you go talk to one person, and if they don't take action, go talk to the next, and don't give up till you find someone that can help you get to what you want. And not someone that's going to force you to get out, someone that can be with your concerns and help you navigate what's best for all of who you are, rather than we don't need someone else to take over. We've already had someone take over. We need someone to listen to us and be with where we're at. You can't change someone by dragging them to where you're at. You need to be with where they're at. So find someone that will be with where you're at. And
I like that
Yeah.
strategy. So mention every single person that you can approach.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anita. If people want to contact you, could you tell us, please, your business?
sure. And before I do that, I want to give you my book as a gift and a thank you. So
Yeah, thank you, Anita. Thank you very much. The Wolf in a Suit, powerful book, more than 500 pages. Thank
Yes.
you. Could you sign that book for me, please?
I will sign it. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Great content to read.
Yes, for everybody.
As I said before, Anita has a page in Facebook, and you can read a lot of content. What's your page name?
The Wolf in a Suit, the same
The
as my
Wolf in a
book.
Suit.
And you can find me other than Facebook on anitabentata.com, ANITABENTATA.com. And my email address is anita@anitabentata.com. So please contact me with any feedback, questions. And you'll see on my website all my programs. I've got online programs, I've got books, I've got talks, workshops, retreats, I've got women's groups, and I also speak at events. And yeah, there's so
Oh
much.
my God,
So much.
You're the expert and the professional here. Thank you, Anita, for being with us. It has been a pleasure to have you here once again. My book is The Wolf in a Suit.
My pleasure, Gabby. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us. See you next time. All the best, Gabby Company in Melbourne, Australia. Bye.